Hey, welcome back to TruePod. Another week, another episode. Two introductions to do on this little intro. Firstly, this art by my little boy, which is going to be a new feature on the podcast. So he's always going to be there with me, which is great. The next intro is Mitch from the Mill in Bromham. So it was a really, really good conversation. Really enjoyed the chat. It was nice to have him on. I felt like we had quite a lot in common, but his work ethic and his work rate is something that I definitely couldn't do. Running the mill and a full-time job is just nuts. We spoke about why he took on the mill, why he enjoys having so much work, how it's just a passion of his to just be working and that he's okay with the fact that he enjoys working after a little bit of self-reflection. Really honest conversation about how Mitch has different coaches in his life, personal coaches, work coaches. We talk about the really exciting stuff that's coming up with Millfest coming up, and some really big plans for what the mill could be in future. So really nice chat. Really enjoyed seeing and getting to know Mitch. Enjoy, like, share. See you on the next one. It's a little
right side?
magnet, yeah. Thank you for coming in to chat to us. I think, if I'll leave you to do your introduction and then we'll go from there.
Wicked. So, thank you for having me. Obviously, I'm Mitch McFarlane, so run the Mill Coffee Shop in Bromham. I've had the business. It's actually 4 years this month, so end of this month it'll be 4 years old. So
nice.
Yeah, feels a lot longer than that, but no, it's been an amazing opportunity and an amazing journey so far. We'll touch on some of the subjects throughout the podcast, but yeah, it's not been as straightforward as what a lot of people may have thought from the beginning. But
yeah, I think there's always a theme when we speak to people of the outside and the inside.
Yeah,
the outside is great, busy, loads of stuff going on, always positive, and then there's not always that. The undercurrent isn't always that. But we'll start from the start. Then we'll go from 4. Yes, that's a good birthday. 4. It's a good celebration to
definitely.
I don't know if you've done the same thing, but when I started out, you see all the stats about how many businesses fail in the first 1, 2, or 3 years, and it's a scary number. So each birthday and each year you're running for, it's an achievement, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, similar to yourself, I'm sales background, so I'm very much into the number. Always been target driven. Every month, every quarter, every year, I'm just driving for the next target, basically. So that's definitely helped. But as you know, in business, you don't always make money. There are months where you try stuff and you fail, but you learn from it, grow, and just keep pushing on. Yeah. Just consistency. That's what I always say. Yeah,
consistency and a bit of that taking that fear of failure away a little bit is tough. But yeah. So let's go from the start. So nearly 4 years ago, I'm going to paint a picture that I imagine that you've got a full-time job and then you decide to start another business.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, went through a massive change in my life and career at that point. Mm-hmm. So my background is motor industry. So I won't go way back, but the majority of my career, so I did 16 years in the motor industry, and that started in sales as a salesman, just your regular car salesman. And I worked with some really good brands, Volkswagen, Audi, Mercedes. And I absolutely love the job. It's sort of a bit of heritage within the family. We're a car mad family. Mm-hmm. So always had an interest in cars, and that was all I ever knew. Kind of got stuck in the career where my dad basically was always in the motor trade, and I always looked up to him. And he did very well, very successful. And so I kind of followed his path with that. So I went from sales to transaction manager, sales management, and I loved it. And I was very blinkered in that sales environment.
Right. In what way?
I think you just it's just your life, isn't it? When you're in sales, that's all you know.
It's just target.
Yeah, and you're commission-based, and it's just you need to sell the units or get your team to sell the units to earn the money. You get used to the money. And then if you look anywhere else, you think, well, I can't really go and do any other jobs and earn that sort of money.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trap, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. I was in that rut, basically, and I did it for a long time. And I got to a point where I got to a level where I was managing a team, and I loved the job. And COVID hit, basically. Had some time off, had about 6 weeks off during COVID. And that was the first time since probably early 20s where I'd had a proper break from work, because we would never be allowed to take long holidays. You know, I'd never take a 2-week holiday. It'd be a weekend away or a week, but I'd always be working during that time. And then COVID hit, had that time off, and it was a massive turning point really to reflect and think, what am I doing this for? Like, I'm spending 11, 12-hour days at work. Social life wasn't great. You know, lots of other strains with that as well. And just had some time off, and I thought, do you know what? I went back over after COVID, and a few things happened at work, and it kind of pushed me to leave. And I had a bit of a break, and I went and got the job that I've currently got, which is working for Volkswagen Finance as a field-based role, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. Basically, it's a development consultant, so I help now the retailers train them and help them get better with selling their finance.
Right, okay.
But it was Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, and I was scratching around, and I was like, I'm so bored. Like, I just didn't.
It's bizarre, isn't it, when you're like you're in it so much that you're like, oh, I wish I was doing less.
Yeah.
Then you do less, and you want more again.
Yeah, and I just didn't know what to do with myself, and I was like, to be honest, I had weekends off for the first time. I was like, great, got weekends off. What do I do? Well, there's nothing to do. There's no one really around, because I was at the age where everyone was like off doing stuff with their family or kids. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm still really bored. So I knew something was going to happen. I was spending a lot of time with my cousin and a good friend of mine, and they were sort of working on a new business in Bedford in hospitality. So I was helping them out for a little bit of cash in hand at the weekends, just to keep me busy. And I loved it. And I thought, maybe I should try something else. And literally the mill came about where I was walking the dog around the village, and I didn't actually know it was there,
Really?
which is crazy. I live in the village, and I live locally, and I've never been to the mill. But that goes to show how much little time I had to spend to do stuff like that, because I was just completely oblivious to what was around me. Walked the dog down there, and I thought, what an amazing space. My brain was going, because I just had so much time to think. I was like, what could I do? And I literally just thought, coffee shop. Like, Bromham doesn't have a coffee shop.
What was it before that? Because I can't remember what it was. Was it anything before then?
Yeah, so the council own it, and they ran it as a small coffee shop. Right. So it did have a reputation for being tea shop, coffee shop. Right. But it closed down pre-COVID, so it's just redundant. I didn't actually know that at the time. And then, I put in a call to the parish council. So a friend, actually my neighbour at the time, it was her mum. Said, speak to my mum and see what's going on with the building. Put the call in. They were like, well, we're actually looking for someone to take it on. If you're interested, we'll meet you down there, show you around, and you can see what the building's like. So went down there, had a walk round. I was just like, this is incredible. I can't believe there's no one making use of this building. I mean, it needed a lot of work, and it was very run down. So basically said, I'm keen. There was a few other people, I think, interested. We had to put together like a bit of a business plan, present it to the council, and sort of say, this is what I want to do with it. This is what I'm willing to invest. And it just went so quick. We're talking probably a month from the moment we did that. I did a real rough business plan with one of my best friends. We sat down, Excel spreadsheet, went and sat at some other coffee shops, looked at how many people were coming in, and we're thinking, right, trying to gauge how many people do you think are going to use it in Bromham? What sort of pricings could we get? What does that look like? It was all really new to me. I'll be brutally honest. I didn't really have a clue what I was doing.
I was going to ask, business plans for me, when I started, I was just winging it. I didn't really know what it involved, what it meant, what I was looking for. Yeah. Was it, just a case of just sussing it out and...
Literally asked so many questions, just pulled on whoever I could for knowledge and advice. I knew the venue would work. Yeah. That's the one thing. I fell in love with it instantly. I could visualise it, and I was like, this has got huge potential. I knew the coffee shop was going to be the right idea, because I did a lot of research in the local area, and I thought there's nothing else like it. So I was pretty set on that. But I didn't know how much, what I had to sell, if I could cover costs, none of that. It was really just a case of plugging some numbers into a spreadsheet and being like, right, okay, do you know what? We need to see X amount of customers per day to cover costs. Yeah. So anyway, we managed to get the building, signed a license agreement at the time, and they were like, dropped a bit of a bomb, and they were like, we really want you to get it open for bank holiday weekend, which was 2 weeks away.
Jeez.
So I was like more pressure. Booked a load of time off work, called on everyone I knew, and we just went in there and just like went through the place, you know, put a coffee machine in, did the basics of what I knew or thought a coffee shop would be, and we managed to get it open for that bank holiday weekend. And we sit and laugh about it now with my friends, because we all went down there and I didn't even know how to make a coffee. I didn't have a clue. I didn't even drink coffee at the time. I just knew that coffee was going to sell.
Yeah.
We opened the doors on this, I think it was Sunday, and I stood behind the coffee machine, and then there was just a queue out the door, and me and my mate were stood there just making coffee. So I was like, mate, I don't know what I'm doing. And he was just like, just try and make a coffee. And I was like, yeah. We'd had 2 hours of training the night before from the guys that sold us the coffee machine.
Yeah.
But we got through the day. We sat down at the end of the day and we're like, right, what went wrong? You know, what could we have done better? And that was literally how we set our days out from then. We just kept opening the door, seeing the customers, listening to feedback, and being like, right, okay, we need to make that more efficient. We need to get better at latte art, you know, and just learn as it went on. And then that was it. The mill just sort of grew.
So right at the start then, so was it a case of you found the place and you kind of, like say, you fell in love with it?
Yeah.
Put that plan in, that sort of business plan together, and planned what you kind of, I guess, how are you going to open it and what the numbers were going to look like? Yeah. Was it a case of that you had money saved? Did you borrow money? How did the process go over? Because coffee machines aren't cheap. All the equipment I can imagine is not cheap.
Yeah. I was fortunate at the time, so I'd saved up a bit of money and sort of committed to invest at that point. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the stuff was rented. So I didn't know this at the time, but we were going out to like the roastery, for instance, and they were like, look, you're a new business. We'll get your coffee machine in there. It's X amount a month. Just see how you get on. Wow. It was the same with a lot of like the kitchen equipment as well, like the ovens and things. They were like, look, you can do it on a finance package. So at the time I was just like, let's just be safe. Yeah. Let's just do it on pay monthly. So that took a lot of the weight off. Yeah. The initial investment. And then obviously as the business grew, then it was like, right, we actually had to change all the equipment. We changed it twice over. So the original coffee machine we had, they said would be more than efficient for what we needed it for. Yeah. That got changed after 6 months. It was the biggest waste of money ever, because we were like, just give it back. It's not keeping up. We changed it again. And then after another 6 months, the volume raised again, and we were like, okay, we need to buy a big machine now. But at that point, the business was doing okay, where we could justify spending the money, and we had that security of, okay, we've got the traffic to be able to pay for it. It was really just a case of growing it literally month by month.
Because that's the scary part, isn't it? It's I've got the idea. I think a lot of people have the idea, but they think, okay, it's going to cost me loads of money to buy the equipment, and then what if it doesn't work? And there's the risk just piles up and piles up and piles up, doesn't it? Yeah. So it's, how do I know that I can do it? Or how did you know that you could rent this stuff? Was it just research, or did you just reach out to them? Yeah, literally. I think this is coming from a sales background. You're not afraid to have a conversation with someone. So I'm just pick up the phone. I'm opening a coffee shop in Bromham. What can you offer? This is what I'm looking for, and just start having those conversations with people. The one thing that I was blown away with how helpful people actually are. I know that they want your business ultimately. Yeah. But met some incredible people along the way that have helped us get it to where it is, and we still use a lot of those accounts now. So there was a lot of support from local people as well to, one, get our business, but not only that, help and advise on what we could do. That was really helpful. So when you started out, you said that you kind of didn't know how to make coffee, you're just taking feedback. What was that? Like, obviously, you were open to the feedback, which is obviously the first step, isn't it? Because some people can get very kind of head down, particular of what they want to do, and that's that. But what was the sort of the learning process? How long do you think it took for you to be like, okay, now we're we're meeting the expectation of what our customers need?
It's tricky. I'm very OCD. I'm very particular in what I do. So I always want it right. So it wasn't the fact that just because I didn't know how to make coffee, I was delivering a bad standard of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I would always seek advice from people that did. So I was lucky. I got a few friends that love their coffee. So it'd be a case of, right, I'd admit it, I'm not great with coffee, but what do you think? And they would give me that advice. So I knew I was delivering a good product.
Yeah.
One of the things for me was I tried to do it differently. So I did a lot of research into local coffee shops, and I spent a lot of time in those shops looking at what they did and how they were doing it. So I went a bit different. So a lot of people use a local roastery in Bedford, and that became quite apparent that they had that market within Bedford. So I was like, well, I'm not going to use them because I want my product to be a little bit different. Mm-hmm. So I went over to Northampton. And then when we first opened, everyone was like, God, the coffee's really good. So I nailed that straight away because I was like, it's just a bit different. They weren't used to it. But yeah, I think for me, it's just always getting the feedback, listening to what people want, and then just adapting where you think it works best.
Because there's always a bit of a risk in doing something different, isn't there? Because it's working in the coffee shops that you went to, so there's something that was good there. So then trying something different is always that it's going to go one of two ways, right? It's either going to be, oh, I love that, or it's not as good as someone else that's up the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, the more coffee then that I started to drink, I started to understand the product a bit more. We went on lots of coffee tasting and coffee art, training courses. So then I started to really understand it. And I think for me, it's like, even when I go to coffee now, I mean, the easiest way to describe it is like Costa and Starbucks, two different types of coffee. I didn't know the difference back then, but I could have both coffees now and I'd know the difference. You got a much harsher taste with Starbucks, more milkier with Costa. So for me, it was just finding that balance and that middle roast of coffee, basically, to get it right.
I didn't realise how much of a varied flavour, and it's like wine in some ways, isn't it? There's so many different, like I just thought it was either strong coffee or weak coffee. Yeah. And that was kind of, and then I started drinking a bit more coffee, and I don't like Costa, but I like Starbucks. I don't really know why, but that's just what I know. And then it's there's a real kind of art to the beans and what beans you like and this and the other, isn't there? Even like how much you grind it and aerate it and all this sort of stuff. I watch stuff on YouTube all the time of when they've got their fancy little mad stuff that they do.
It's crazy. Yeah, there's a lot of science behind it. But I think for me, it was understanding what the business was. And even now, we get some people come in that love coffee and they might not like the coffee that we use. And that's absolutely fine. But we're a high volume coffee shop. Yeah. So we're never going to be able to perfect the coffee to that kind of client. Like your Starbucks and your Costas, it's not going to blow you away, but it serves a purpose.
It's going to be the same every time as well.
Yeah, but there are some smaller independent coffee shops which are great, and they'll offer you lots of different mixtures of roasts and different flavours, but they can do that because they've got the time to do it, and that's the market that they're aiming at. Yeah, we're different. The business is growing way too quickly. It's high volume. We haven't got the time for that.
Yeah, I was going to say, next question is kind of from that first couple of weeks of sussing it to where you are now. It's a different beast, isn't it?
Yeah. A lot has happened with the business and the team, and lots of changes within that time to get it to where it is today. Initially I was spending a lot of time there. I only wanted it to be a weekend coffee shop because obviously I was working full time as well. So I didn't have the time to spend there. And then we were opening it up at the weekends and saw how busy it was. The customers were sort of saying, you need to get it open in the week. You're missing out on a massive opportunity. So I was like, okay, I had to get a team, put adverts out for staff, had to build a good team to be able to open it and me not be there all the time. That was really tricky, really, really tricky. I pulled on my family a lot at that time. I ended up having all of them working there because they saw the stress that I was going through. Yeah. The funny part of the story was they won't mind me saying this, but my mum and dad, when I went to see them, and I was like, I've seen this coffee shop in Bromham Mill. I want to take it on and turn it into a coffee shop. And they were like, you're mad. What are you doing? And they didn't believe in it at all. One time in my life, I was like, I'm not going to listen to your advice. I'm just going to go and do it. And then when it opened and they saw, the success and started hearing feedback from local people, I think they were just like, wow, he's done a really good job.
Yeah.
And then they wanted to help support. So yeah, as much as that was great having them there, I had my sister, my mum and my dad all working there at one point, because I was obviously off doing my thing, and I'd dip in and out when I could and try to manage it from afar. But that was really hard. You know, I know some people that work with families, but yeah, for us that didn't work.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. There's emotions, there's passion, there's trying not to take it home with you all the time.
Yeah.
There's lots of layers to that makes it really complex.
Yeah, definitely. So that was an interesting year. There was a lot of fallouts, a lot of Sunday roast dinners where there's a lot of people leaving, doors slamming, and but it was like you said, we were all passionate about it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I sat there and said, look, it's, without sounding horrible, it's my business, it's my vision, and you've got to be on board with that. You know, everyone had their own different views. That ended up with my dad. He retired, so that worked out perfectly. And he said, look, I'll help manage it for you whilst you're working. And he was down there for another 12 months. We worked really, really well together. So, as I said, with motor trade background, always been in sales, we click when it comes to work. So that was a huge help. But he ended up having some health issues, which was another massive wobble for me, because that happened all of a sudden. Right. And he went through a time in his life that just wiped him out, basically. So, yeah, that was a real tough time, because I was, again, still working, trying to hold down the day job. And then I lost having my dad there as well. So I didn't have my wingman. I didn't have my guy that I could speak to him. You know, I'd be driving home and be like, what's going on? How's the day going? Talk to me. I'll be there in a bit. We can have a chat. And that was just gone. So that was a real tough time. But yeah, that then led on to the business growing again, because I had to go out, I had to find a manager, replace obviously his position, and then onto the next year. So yeah, it's been a absolute lot, and not a lot of people know this, by the way. So yeah, it's the first time I probably spoke about it like this. But
yeah, it's it kind of sometimes, like we've said before when we were chatting, it was from the outside of things, it's all gleaming and great and just this curve of growth, and it seems easy, and I think that it's a difficult one, because what I want to do is encourage people to run businesses and start and take that leap, but I also want to be real about it, that it's not just plain sailing and easy, and I don't know how you will come onto it, but I don't know how you can do a job at the same time. I really don't. But sometimes it's just growth isn't, there's always the drive for growth within the business, right? But sometimes it's not your decision that makes that growth happen. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, you're adjusting to something that's happened. Yeah. Whether it's been you're too busy, or like I say, you haven't got your dad there to support, so you have to then get other members of team, and then that's a whole different kettle of fish that you've just opened up there and trying to work that out. And then, but kind of the evolution of a business isn't always just, right, we've got more people coming in, so we're going to open more days, and then we're going to get more people, we're going to get more staff, and it's just easy. There's emotions behind it. I think there's that person behind it that is trying to do everything and try and get it right. And that's why it's difficult when you see businesses that are struggling, or people often only ever see that outside and think, that's easy, or I could have done that, or it's not that was that easy. And when, like I say, my next question is around staffing, and how do you find the right people, and how do you manage those when you're not there is a whole art in itself. Yeah, and it's a really good question, because I think I'd had some background of managing a team in my previous role, but that's been the biggest learning curve for me. And I think we'll come on to it again in a moment when we talk about the other job, but one thing I've had to invest heavily in is me. So who I am, why I'm doing it, and I've had a lot of, since getting the mill, to be honest, I've had a lot of help with that. You know, I've had mental health issues where I've worked way too hard. I've run myself into the ground. I've always suffered with anxiety, so I'm always battling with that constantly. But not only that, it's
I employed a business coach. So I got to the point where the business got to a certain point, and like you just said earlier, the business needed to keep growing. And the problem I had was I had no time to then keep growing with the business.
Yeah.
So I had to get that team in, and it had to be the right team that were on the same mission as me, the same path as me. They wanted the same for the business. And that's really difficult because there's been a lot of times where we've had people there that it's just the catering industry, hospitality industry is really tough. You know, a lot of people don't see it as a career. Mm-hmm. So we've had to muddle through those ones that are just there to earn the money and go, and try and get more and more people into the team that want the business to survive and go on to bigger and better things. So that's still a battle now. You know, we had a conversation when I turned up earlier. That's a day-to-day battle of keeping them on that path that I'm on and that mission. But yeah, sort of going back to what I was saying, I think for me, what I've learned with myself is really understanding myself in what I have to deal with my mental health and stuff like that. But that also relates really well with growing a team. So I've got a business coach that I work with now. He's brilliant. He coaches me on how I can grow the business, where I spend my time management. That's a big one for me. Mm-hmm. You know, setting out your actions and sticking to the plan. But then I can also use that with the team as well. I have a personal coach who I see once a week. So we sit down and we talk about my week, what's worked well, what's not worked well. He gives me lots of really great advice, just helps me offload all of that stuff out of my head.
Right.
But again, that reflects back onto the team because that means that I'm clearer, I think better, and I can help coach and manage those guys. Yeah. So it's not easy. It's not easy. There's a lot going on. And I think one day I'll get to the point where I'll make a decision and just do one. But at the moment, I think to keep the business growing, I need the security of my job. And I'm very lucky I've got a great team there that are doing that. Yeah. So a bit of a roundabout answer to that.
No, it's a good one. And I think it's, I want to ask you a little bit more if you don't mind around the coaches that you've got in place.
Yeah.
How and when did you decide that you needed to do those types of things? Because there is I think this is a point that I thought I was alone in a lot of this, if I'm honest with you. I thought that starting a business has changed my life in every way I can imagine, in ways that I didn't think it was going to change me. I knew that my brain was always on, but it's all like it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
I'm definitely more stressed. I'm more anxious. I'm probably more phases of depression than I've ever had before.
Yeah.
Like I don't stop thinking. I don't stop worrying. I think I'm way more creative than I used to be. I'm way more driven than I used to be. But I thought it was just me and my brain. The more we talk to people, the more I've realised that a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah.
They get. I don't know if it's the expectation. I don't know if it's the need to. Part of it is sometimes maybe to prove something, to show that you can do it. I don't know what it is, but I felt like I was alone. And I think it's good to have these conversations and people are open to have these conversations because I felt like I was alone, so other people probably feel the same.
100%. And for me, the biggest thing was actually admitting to myself that I love work.
Yeah.
So I struggled with that a lot. So when I was growing up, when I was in sales, I really enjoyed sales, you know, but there was a lot of things that I missed out on socially and everyone would give me a hard time. You know, I've had failed relationships in the past where I was given grief because I wanted to work, you know, and I was just like, there's something wrong with me. Like, am I hiding from something? And that day where I sort of sat there, and this was one of my coaches actually helped me with this. And he said, have you ever thought you just really enjoy working? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he was like, that's fine. You know, be at peace with that.
Yeah.
And I think even now when people say to me, just, you don't need to work so much. And I'm like, no, I do it because I genuinely enjoy it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I've got to work at, there are parts still I've got to work at with having time off, you know, and having some proper quality time with my friends and family. And I'm working on that, and that's fine. But yeah, I think the big thing for me is I do enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking to people definitely is a big one for me. I'm a talker anyway. Some of my closest friends will chat. I'm not afraid to say I'm having a real bad week.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not in a good headspace. For me, the coach is great for that because you don't know them. They don't know, obviously they know stuff about you, but it's not, I think when you go to friends or family, you get a very biased opinion. Where when you go to a coach, they just put things into completely different aspect.
Yeah.
It works well for me. Not everyone believes in that. You speak to some people and they go, "Oh, you're weak. You shouldn't go and speak to someone."
Yeah,
but
and I think that's changing.
That's
I do think it's changing. I think that a lot more people are open to having conversations about your mental health, and I think it's really important because in not just running a business, just in life, life's tough.
Yeah,
life's tough. You get thrown all different curveballs from, like you say, you probably had that moment when your dad wasn't in the business as much, but that's just as much as emotional than it is. There's probably part of you that enjoyed the fact that you were chatting to your dad at the end of the day of how's the business going. It's not just that he was your wingman and it was your dad, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the emotional side of things that I think mental health is talked about a lot more, and I think people going to whether it's therapy or counselling or coaching is I think understanding that is so important, and understanding, like you said, reflecting on yourself and who you are is really important for to know your identity for you, then identity for your business and your brand, because I believe that every business is a brand.
Yeah.
And then your staff need to understand what that is as well. If you don't know what the identity of you, your brand, your product is, how are they supposed to deliver that to people?
Yeah. And when you've got a team, you've got to be the stable person at the top to make that decision. And that's really hard. You know, if you go through a time where you're not stable, that's difficult, isn't it? Yeah. So I think for me, that's where the coach helps, because I could go through a real bad week. You know, you could have some staff kicking off, you could have whatever the situation is going on at the time. You could make a snapshot decision and it could be the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Where going to them, they'll be like, right, let's talk about it. Let's look at the wider situation here and try and make the right decision. And that really helps me. And that's helped me grow as a person to actually just take a step back. I was very reactive at the start.
Yeah.
I was very immature, probably made some silly decisions with people management. But as I've got older, I've invested a lot of time into getting better at that. And hopefully I'm doing all right. don't ask anyone.
We'll go and ask them. The next podcast is going to be all your staff.
Yeah, they will be here going, "Oh, he's such a bad manager." But no, I think I do a good job, and I do really try, because I think the guys know how important they are. You know, doing the other job, they are massively important to me. Without them, I couldn't do it. Yeah. I would have to leave the job and work there full time. So I invest a lot of time into the team. But yeah, the other thing for me was the business coach. I think it was a big turning circle for me. So I got the business to where I thought I could get it to, and I was there. I was just like ran out of ideas. You know, it was doing what it was doing, and yeah, a friend of mine said, "Why don't you get a business coach to come in?" And I was like, never even thought of that. And a guy called Stuart Plowman, really good friends with him. Like I said, he's helped me out massively. But he just came in and he was like, "Right, let's get into it." I went through all my accounts with him. He spent a day at the business with me, looked at it, and he was like, "Right, I've got some really good ideas for you." And we sat down and he gave me all these brilliant ideas. And I was like, I would never have thought about any of those things. And it was just another game changer, because I was like, right, I can do that. Let's get them in place. And it then escalated it again, made us more efficient, made us better, made the product better. And it just goes to show, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, if you're struggling, just ask.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that, to be honest.
Okay.
I'm very much that. I'm getting better at it, and especially in the last year or so, it's a conscious effort. But when I started out, it was, if I ask someone, I look stupid. Yeah. If I ask someone that I don't know, that it shows I don't know what I'm doing, so I won't ask, because I don't want it to look like I've got a business. I should know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
But you don't know what you don't know, right? And I'm my background being in sales, I knew that side of it. I knew how to get leads in. I knew how to manage a CRM. I knew how to, but I didn't necessarily at that point know how to market myself or to grow a brand or to do my finances or anything like that. And I was kind of but I should know that. Maybe I should just research. But I think it's really important to just ask the question and ask people that are doing better than you how to do stuff, and ask people that are starting out, because there's people that are starting out that have got amazing ideas that you wouldn't have even thought of, because they've got fresh eyes to something. Yeah. And I think that you said it before about your business coach help you kind of step back on things. And I don't think when you're all go and it's reactive and doing stuff, it's so difficult to step back and say, as soon, like, I find when I'm on holiday, that's all the best ideas come, because I've stepped back for a second.
Clear your head.
And I've gone, actually, why don't I just do this? I say on holiday, it's normally like a weekend that I haven't worked.
We don't get holidays.
But it's like, or I'm walking the dog and I think, like I was driving home yesterday and an idea comes because I'm not working. I've got a podcast on, I've got music on. And that's that moment of just stepping back and then seeing what is actually going on.
Yeah. Dog walking is, I mean, yeah, I've got a dog, I love him to bits. And that's one thing I do religiously every single day without fail. That's my clear my head time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was going to say one thing that a really good manager of mine when I was in the motor trade, he said to me once, he was like, knowledge is very powerful. And if you don't know how to do something, you need to learn. And I used to always go into his office and be like, can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Because I was always so busy, and he was just like, no, you can do it. You do it yourself. And if you don't know how to, learn. And that really stuck with me. And I always go on this thing now, it's like a saying, it's like, I cannot do it yet.
Yeah.
And if I can't do something, when I've got the time, I'll teach myself how to do it. And that has helped me massively, and I think that's, again, within a business, I like to think that I could go into the mill today and I could do any job in there because I've learned how to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful.
Oh, for sure. And I think that's that expectation on yourself to learn it will then, like the people that are working with you and for you will know that if you know you're making the time and effort to learn it and be better, then you're not just doing your job while they're running your business. I mean, you can go in and you can understand it all. And it's hard to take criticisms or critiques from someone that doesn't know how to do it themselves. I mean? If you're going there and saying, whether it's the art or how you make the coffee, if you don't know how to do it, it's hard to say, well, I don't like that. That's not done right.
Yeah.
Because there's always, I think we've all had managers that swan around that, I don't like that, I don't like that. But actually, they don't know what they're doing anyway. They just like pointing the finger, and that's just not fun for anybody.
No, not at all. And we always have this joke about latte art. I always say to them, like, I make one coffee a day, absolute max. And if I can come in and do a better latte art than you, then you need to step up your game. Do you know what I mean? Because they're there every day doing it, day in, day out. And I'm like, that's the standard. Set that standard, you've got to match that standard.
Yeah.
So that's a bit of a joke that we have. But yeah, it's that sort of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've gone, we've kind of jumped quite a lot across the story and bits and bobs, and there's a lot to talk, probably 1,000 things you could talk about in that 4 years that sort of happened. And I want to get to, there's a couple of things I want to touch on from, first let's go to, you've got the job that you're working, and then you've got the, like, it's not a side hustle, like that's a business.
Yeah.
Like I got respect for people that have a job and a side hustle.
Yeah.
Fair play. A job and a full business with multiple members of staff and events, and how on earth do you do it? And why do you do it?
Well, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I have this conversation regularly with my dad, and he's like, what are you doing? We've got this thing at the moment where he's just like, you're doing it till you're 40 and that's it. Like, you got to cut off. I'm not allowing you to do both jobs.
How many years away is that without asking how old you are?
3 years, 37. It's crept up on me fast. I don't know. I generally don't know the answer to that question. I think for me, I want a good life. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I want to do well for myself. I'm very ambitious as a person. I always have been. I don't want a lot. I just want to be comfortable. And I think one thing for me is I want time in my future. I want to be able to take a step back and just enjoy it and not have to worry about financially being stable. So that's why I'm just working my ass off now, to be honest, to get to that goal. But yeah, I don't know.
I just love working.
I love work. I love my career. I've been in it for a long, long time now. I know it. I can do it with my eyes closed, so that does help.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable in the job that I do now. I can juggle both. Originally, when I set the business up, I said 12 months. Like, that's it. I'll do both for 12 months. We'll get to 12 months. We'll make a decision. Obviously, as any business owner knows, after 12 months, you're not really making much money. Yeah. So I got to 12 months. I was like, okay, great. Well, I can't leave my job because the business isn't actually making enough money for me to do that. Year 2, same conversation, made a little bit, and so on. It's probably at the point now where maybe I could make a decision, but then I'm selfishly going, well, I'm still managing, I'm still juggling both. Let's keep pushing, keep and retain as much money in the business as I can, as a bit of a protection blanket. So the day is going to come at some point, whether it's, something dramatically changes at the mill where, that situation isn't the same as what it is now, and I continue with my career, or something happens in my career and I go, do you know what, this feels right. I need to leave, and the mill needs my time, and I need to grow that to the next thing, whether it's take on another coffee shop or start another business.
Yeah, I think I feel like it was a question I wanted to ask, but I feel like you've, in a roundabout way, already answered it. Like you enjoy what you do, you love working, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you're not burning yourself out, if you're enjoying both sides of it, and they're both kind of working, it's kind of it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah, and it really depends on what sort of person you are. I mean, I'm really strict with my time, so I still do what everyone else does. Like I said, I still walk the dog every evening. I still get to go to the gym. I still socialise, maybe not as much as I could, but I still get to see all my friends and my family. I think the big thing for me is just that time piece. I think a lot of people now, so much downtime. That really frustrates. Social media, I hate. I don't have social media. I hate social media.
I'm a weird one because that's my job. And I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a good place for a lot of things. I kind of have it, but it's only researching what ideas or other people are doing. But I completely agree with you. It eats up time.
Yeah, and we need people to be on it because that's what helps our business and it helps grow our business. Completely get that. But for me, that was a big decision where I was like, that downtime of sitting there just doom scrolling, and you can waste. I think someone said to me the other day, I think it's 3 hours a day on average now. It is a person
does not surprise me.
Just doom scrolling on the phone, but I'm like, that's dead time, man. There's better things to be doing. My lunch break, I get a lunch break with my job. That's an hour a day. I don't ever have a lunch break. I'll close my work laptop, but I'll open the mill laptop and I'll continue to work. I'll catch up on my mailbox. I'll make some calls, plan some meetings and stuff. So I'm constantly trying to make the best use of the time that I've got. That's how I make it work.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's got time for one episode on Netflix.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everyone's got time for one episode on Netflix.
Yeah.
But they won't have time to research their business that they want to do. Or I think that it's just that mindset that you've got yourself in, that I want to push on, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this. And I just think that the ease of life has made people, there's more information available now than there ever has been.
Yeah.
With its AI, Google, whatever it is. But the problem is Instagram, Netflix is just there. It's so easy.
Yeah.
And I think that it's great because you need to turn your brain off sometimes. But I think it's like pulling society back a little bit from innovation and ideas and drive.
100%. I see it all the time at work. I work with colleagues, and no disrespect to them, some of them have families, some of them have busy social lives, and I sit there and I'm like, what are you doing with all this spare time? Like, I am managing to run a business as well, and that's not for everyone. But I do think, are we making the most out of that time? Again, I think it's been driven into me from sales. You're only as good as your current month. You'd go in and you'd have your target, and that was your target for that month, and you had to just drive till you got to your target, and then on the first of the next month, boards wiped, start again. And that was driven into me month after month after month.
And there's two types of people on that. It's I'm back to zero again, or let's go, I'm at zero.
Again. Yeah.
And there's two. In sales, there's always the two. It's always, got to start again now, and I've got to get going and start from zero. Or it's the challenge of, we're at zero, let's go. Let's get in the green as quick as possible.
Yeah, and I'm like that day by day. I'll lie in bed at night and I'll get my phone out and I'll write in my notes what I've got to achieve the next day. Get up the next day, we go, let's go. And if I don't achieve it, I'll get really annoyed.
Yeah.
And that's where family and friends are like, just chill, just have a day off. And that's the bit I'm working on. That's the bit where I need to learn just to actually just have a break.
Relax, yeah. Because I think it's needed, because if you go too hard, you do burn yourself out. And then for me, it's you burn out and then the other things come in. That's when the darker times come in, where it's and it all comes down. Or is it anxiety, or is it this, or is that? That's when it all comes on top of you, and you think, then you're like, that long to-do list is that I don't really want to get out of bed and do that tomorrow. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That could come real quick if you burn yourself out. Yeah. That's from my personal experience anyway. If you do too much and you've got too much going on, then it's, I don't know if I can do that again tomorrow. And you've got to get in, you've got to put a face on, you've got to smile, you've got to be positive. There's some times when I do a podcast and I just think, I'm really not feeling this today. Yeah, I really don't want to be on and have a conversation with people, but it's that drive. There's something in you, but it's still hard to balance it all at once and do it all the best you can, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, whilst you were saying that, I was just saying like drinking. I think that's been a big thing recently, hasn't it? I think more and more people are choosing not to go out and drink because of that, how you feel the next day. And that's, again, it's dead time, it's wasted. You wasted a whole day in bed hungover. And I don't really drink. I'm a social drinker. I don't really drink a lot. That's probably because of the business, because there were some times early on when I took the business on, I probably went out, blew the doors off, woke up the next morning full of anxiety, beer fear, lying in bed feeling horrendous. And I was like, I've got a massive responsibility and I've got a team of people down there that need me. And that was a wake-up call for me, because I was like, if something happened or if I needed to be there, I can't be in that state.
Yeah.
So now I really pick and choose when I sort of let my hair down and things like that. It's just being strict, isn't it? And just understanding yourself and not getting yourself into those.
Yeah, I think there is a whole shift though, isn't there? I can't remember what the stat was, but it's something like, and I get confused with Gen Z. Anyway, the younger 20 to 25-year-olds now, it's something like 60. They drink 60% less than the generation before, because they don't want to go out and get drunk. They don't want to.
Crazy, isn't it?
Do that. Yeah, it is crazy.
Yeah.
And it is that. I think that feeds into a lot of stuff: mental health, physical health, wanting to do more. Yeah. And I think that's a really, really good environment. I think there's a kind of, I don't know if movement is the right word, but your physical health, mental health, all that tying in together.
Yeah. They're more in tune with that, aren't they? They're more open to talk. I mean, I've got younger friends and early 20s, mid 20s, and they're very good at talking about their emotions. We weren't like that. But I wasn't like that.
No.
But I think that is good. But I do think that they maybe need to pick up on the other side, which is you need to still graft.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that there's a balance between everyone wants to get on and be great and positive, and you've got your what you need to do. But also, when I started work, it was you could sit down in that chair, you make 150, 200 calls.
Yeah.
If you haven't done that, you don't bother going for a lunch break. Don't bother leaving work on time.
Yeah.
And if you haven't hit your target, why are you eating your lunch?
Yeah.
That was kind of the environment that I started
we
in.
We used to have to ask to go to the toilet.
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Where are you going?" Toilet. No, not yet. Like, you stay here, you get some deals done, go to toilet.
Yeah.
Okay. Lunch breaks was never a thing. Like, we'd never get a lunch break.
You'd shove some food in between calls and
days off were expected to go in. Even holidays, if you booked a week's holiday, you still had to have your phone on you. You'd still be replying to customers, emailing customers. It was just driven into us that's what we had to do. I think that's what I love now about working at a corporate. It's not like that at all. It's complete opposite. It's very laid back.
But that experience is I think that for me, I worked at a big company that was process and hard work and everything, and then it went into another company that was just it was a smaller company in the grand scheme of what the industry was. So it was just get going all the time, and I didn't enjoy it, but I learned a lot about myself, about what I can achieve, what I can do, and what I don't want to do as well. What I don't want to do for myself, and I don't want to do for people that work for me.
Yeah.
And without that, I wouldn't be where I am now. Yeah. And I wouldn't be able to do what I can do now. And sometimes the lessons that you learn aren't the fun ones. Yeah. They aren't I finished work on time and I went and did this and I went and did that and it was great. And sometimes you need that, mate, I am done. Yeah. This is killing me to know what you can do and what you can't do.
Definitely. Yeah, you got to push yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So the food trucks and the Millfest and all that stuff. Yeah. Where did that come from? Because it's kind of it's a contradiction to what you do, but in a good way. Do you know what I mean? You've got the coffee, which is cakes, coffee, nice, that sort of environment, and then it's like Fridays are just buzzing. Yeah.
It's amazing. That is like the highlight of my year, Food Truck Fridays. I love that event. That came about, basically we just running the coffee shop as we were, just growing the business. Me and one of my best friends, Cam, he was working for me at the time, just on and off, because he was having a spell out of work from what he was doing. And we literally shut the coffee shop up, sat outside on a bench. It was a really nice evening, sun was setting, having a beer. I'm like, this is such a nice venue. Like, this is really nice, perfect spot to do some evening entertainment. And we're like, what could we do? And we ended up, there's like we call it the hovel, and so the outside barn that just sits just away from the middle a little bit. And we were like, well, that's dead space. What about if we set up a kitchen in there, brought a couple of uni ovens and just started making some pizzas? Again, didn't know how to make pizza, didn't know what we're doing, but I would try. Like, there's no harm in trying. So we went 50-50 on it, and we just said we'll dedicate our Friday nights to going into the hovel, making some pizzas. A friend of ours run bars, so he said, I can put a little bar in there for you as well. We can offer some alcohol. We were lucky that there was an alcohol license already in place on the building, so that was a result. And then we just put a post into the village groups just saying Bromham Mill will do pizzas on the Friday night between 5 and 9. And then we got approached by another guy that said he didn't mind coming and doing some live music, and we've got a great relationship with him still today. And yeah, before we knew it, we're doing 100 pizzas a night. And
Jesus.
like all the benches were full and everyone was like, love this, there's so much potential. And that's kind of where the idea come from. Cam, my best mate, he then decided he wanted to go back to London to continue with his career. So he was like, look, I'm not going to have the time to do it next year, but it's a great event, you should keep on pushing it. So I said, well, I can't do the pizzas if I'm going to grow the event. So what about we sub the food out? So we go out to local people with food vans and food offerings and get them down there. And then we'll just focus on the bar and the music, and we'll offer that. So that was year 2. Again, just flew. And then every year it's just sort of grown from that, really. It's just turned into this Bromham Friday nights. It's just great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love it. I'm always there. Like, everyone always has a go at me because we've got someone that manages it now, and they're just like, just go home. And I'm like, no, actually, I want to be there. Like, I want to, as much as you have times where you just like, I just need some space from the place. I just love going down there, having a pizza and just seeing everyone having such a good time. So that's where it started from.
Yeah, it's a really good vibe as well, because it's kind of like you're at the mill, but you're not. It's like you're detached from. Yeah. It's like a whole different space, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's a whole different environment, a whole different space, and it just feels something new. That is a really good vibe and a really good. The food is always really good as well. Yeah, that obviously helps.
And we're so lucky with the venue. You know, we've got the parking, we've got the meadow, we've got the kids play area. So there's a lot of attractions there. It's not just the food vans. So I know we've been lucky with that, and that's kind of all worked into what it is today. Yeah. So. And
then the next step is the big event that you've got coming up.
Millfest. Yeah. Anxiety. Jesus, what are we doing? Guy called Matt, who runs the bar, we run the bar together. We started running the events together because obviously I don't have all the time in the world, so I need help, and this is where I call on a lot of people for that help. So we plan and run the events together. We did a mini Millfest last year, so out the front where we do the food trucks, we were like, let's do a festival at the end of the season. So at the end of the food truck season, let's just put a stage in, live music all day, food, drinks, good time. We were allowed up to 500 people, and we did it, and it was brilliant. Such a good day. Unfortunately, didn't make any money. So we were like, if we're gonna do it, we need to go bigger. Mm-hmm. I think we've probably got carried away in the planning because we've probably gone too big. Right. So we're going to move it down into the meadow, be up to about 1,500 people.
Jesus.
Over 2 days. And then we went crazy with the headliners. So we've got our Beaver Orchestra on the Saturday, and some really good acts before them as well. And then on the Sunday, we're doing a Soul Sunday as well. So yeah, we've invested a lot of money into it to try and get it right. But yeah, it's going to be a big test to whether it works or not. I'm really excited. I am excited, and I want it to work, and I really hope that the local community buy into it and see what we're trying to achieve, because I think if we can get it right this year, it's looking very unlikely. It's not a money maker, I'll be completely honest. I don't think it's going to make money in year 2. And there's a big investment that's gone into it. But I think for us, we're looking at the future, that if we can get it to we can sell out on tickets this year, we can then get it to work the following year. But it's going to be a wicked weekend. Really, really good.
So it's interesting that it's one of those ones where you know you're not going to make money, but you feel like it's something that, is it something you feel like is a long-term thing for Bromham, or is it just that you want to just grow what you're doing, and just that drive to just keep doing more?
Bit of both. So there is a point, there was a conversation that happened January this year where my dad, funny enough, said to me, that's enough. Like, just do what you're doing. Don't take on any more. So yeah, okay. I'm going to do a festival.
Yeah.
So there is a part of me that's like, why have I done this? Because I haven't really got the time. But I think secretly I do enjoy the stress and the excitement of building something new. But the idea is that it grows into something that is a regular event. I think the Mill's always had 2 events that are quite popular within Bromham, and that's Duck Day and Apple Day, which are run by the council, and they're very successful days. For me, I'd like to get one for the Mill that we can do. They did try it years and years ago. They had something called Millfest, and it just didn't take off. So we're sort of going back at that to give it another go, and hopefully we get it to work, and it can be something that we look forward to every year at the end of Food Truck Friday season. And on that as well, we've had sign off for fireworks as well. So Bromham's never had a firework display.
Nice.
So we've got that all signed off. So straight after Millfest, it will be planning for fireworks, and we've got huge display going on.
That's a lot to pull together. A hell of a lot to pull together.
Yeah. So at the end of this year, it'll be definitely a case of sitting back, looking at it, and being like, right, what worked, what didn't. But you can't knock us. We're trying. Yeah,
I mean, just thinking about it, like, getting stage and music and fireworks and people management and toilets, that's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. And that's again why I have to be, selfishly I could try and do it on my own, but I don't think it'd be successful, because there is a point where you just run out of time and it becomes very messy, and that's where I need the team around me, and I'm very fortunate that I've got that. Matt's invested in the events with me. He loves creating these events, so we split that. We meet up once a week and we go through our checklist, our to-do list, and we're like, right, that's your job. We work really well together. And the same with the team at the Mill. We have a marketing girl that does all the social media and PR and advertising. So again, it's another meeting, sit down, discuss that. There's a lot of delegation behind the scenes, but the main goal is we all come together, we all want the same thing. So
how do you find that delegation? Because I know that especially like you said earlier, you like things how you like things, you're particular how you like stuff. I know that feeling well. How do you find? I mean, you've kind of got no choice. You're in that position where you're working a lot, so you can't have much of a choice. But do you still struggle with it?
I'd say as a manager and a people manager, it's probably the hardest skill to learn, delegation, especially when you're the type of people that we are. We're very particular. I like things done exactly how I want them to be done. I learned early stages within sales management. So before I took on the Mill, that I was stupid. I was trying to manage a team and get them to do everything how I wanted it to be done, and I actually ended up just doing the job for them because it was easier for me to do it rather than actually teach them to do it for me. And that was a massive mistake in my sales management career. But I've learned with the Mill that I have to trust my team. I think early stages I had to embed my standards into them before I could then start to delegate.
Yeah.
And there's a balance, right? There's you can do a job and you can do it how I would do it, or you can do a job and it can be done all right and it's acceptable. And I think that's the bit I had to understand. I could go down there tonight and I could walk through the building and I could pick it to bits, on hygiene or how things have been left, and I could put them where I would put them. But ultimately, that's my expectation.
Yeah.
And I have to understand that my expectations are probably too high. It's finding the balance between the right delegation. I think. And
as long as the standard that is left at isn't too low, like if yours is here, where you don't want it is there, and you can meet in the middle, then that's okay.
Yeah.
I do get what you mean. I look at things sometimes. I think I really don't like that. I really wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But as long as it's doing what needs to be done, you have to learn to let go on things.
Yeah, and there's certain things that the general public won't even pick up on. It's just my OCD that I'm like, that's not right, and someone wouldn't even look at that.
Yeah.
So it's actually looking at it and being like, the staff have done their job. That's my own personal expectation and OCD that's creating that issue for me.
Yeah.
And I have this joke with with my partner, like we come in. I always say you come through the door, and I'm the sort of person you take your shoes off and you put them where the shoes are meant to go. And they need to be like perfectly placed. That's my OCD, where she could come in and take her shoes off and she'll put them in the right place, but they might just be slightly wonky. Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's a me problem.
Yeah,
I'll have to straighten them up. But I respect the fact that you put them where they should be. Older years, I'd have gone mad because I'm like, that's really winding me up. But you learn yourself as a person, and Yeah.
I think, like you just said before, like learning who you are and yourself is so. I haven't understood my brain as well as I do now.
Yeah.
To your point, like I would that things that would just drive me insane and get me like really frustrated, and I didn't really know why.
Yeah.
It was just I wouldn't do that, so I don't understand why you would do it.
100%.
So, but then it's just because that's just how you do things. That's okay.
Different personalities.
I just can't.
Yeah.
I just couldn't compute that for a really long time, and I kind of struggled with a lot of like, not it didn't like really affect my relationships with people, but it was just couldn't get on, but I couldn't deal with certain things because I just can't understand why you would do that. And it's just it could be shoes, or it could be something so small that you just then you start thinking you're going insane if you can't like get your head around it. You feel like you're going loopy.
That's it, and I think you just got to understand yourself before understanding others. And I'm very in tune with that now, you know, and I love the psychology of other people and myself, and I'm a big believer in. I still invest time in that now.
It's interesting. It's interesting to kind of. I love these conversations because I feel like I pick apart bits of me and then.
Yeah, it's good though.
It's good to like analyze yourself among other people, and I think it's also good that you kind of some of these traits. I think it's called. Is it neurodiverse? Is that the terminology for like OCD and ADHD and stuff?
Yeah,
those traits are like powerful traits when running a business. I think.
Yes.
If you don't understand them and like lean into them in some ways, they're really useful for being an entrepreneur, a business owner, founder, whatever banner you fall under. Because if you channel them properly, like that attention to detail in something that you do,
it's really important.
Yeah. Because as soon as you don't have attention to detail and stuff like that, it all falls apart very quickly.
And you'll know as a business owner, I don't know if you ever do this, but you go into other businesses and critique them, not in a bad way, but you're
can't
always
not do it.
Yeah. And you know, I was in London at the weekend and I walked to some places and it was really busy. I was looking around, thinking this place is a shithole. Like, if I own this place, I wouldn't accept these standards.
It's the same everywhere you go, like Airbnbs or hotels or.
Yeah.
I think I wouldn't do that. I reckon you could make more money if you did this, or if you change that, I think that would drive more people in. Or your marketing isn't great. That doesn't. It's just constant all the time.
It doesn't really matter. They were still busy, you know, and they were clearly making money. That's just me, you know, and what I expect. I went again. There was pub at the weekend. I walked into and I was looking around. I was like, this place is immaculate. You know, it's literally pristine. I was like really impressed for hospitality that they can keep it to that standard. It's dead. Yeah. So it doesn't matter. I think it's just different people have different.
Different lives, different expectations, and they could have spent all their time making it clean and tidy and not trying to get anybody in the door.
Yeah,
and sometimes you can't do it all, right? There's also a part of like somewhere like the Mill is it's an old building, it's in a village. You want it to feel a little bit warm and cozy and a little bit. You want the table to have a few dents in it, and you don't want to come in to being clean and tidy and sterile. And there is that balance to be had where you kind of want to feel like you're sat in your front room a little bit and you've got a cozy coffee. Like I went there quite a few times when my little boy was born, and my wife was on maternity leave, and my friends had babies at the same time. And it's like a home from home. You get a nice coffee or a hot chocolate, and you kind of feel like you're at home. You feel cozy there, and you kind of want that, don't you? When you go into a coffee, you don't want to feel.
Definitely, and I think this has been a big decision for me as well, because a lot of coffee shop owners they don't go on that rule. So there are coffee shops out there that you've got to turn your tables or just not have tables. So you incentivize people to come in, take it away and go.
Yeah.
I still stick at the fact that we've got the sofas, we've got comfortable seating, and there are days where some people will actually come in there, they'll just order one coffee and they're sat on a 6-seater area and they're there all day using that space. Can be frustrating. But then there are times where you think, but that's the Mill. Like people come there because of that. So I wouldn't want to be a coffee shop where I'm trying to push the customers to just come in, grab and go. I think it is a venue and it's a place where people come and enjoy it for what it is. And that's really important that we stick to that.
Because you've got a lot of space. You could make more space to serve more customers quicker, but then you wouldn't have that space to have people to come and sit. Do you know what I mean? You could make it more of a grab and go place if you wanted to, because you've got the space to do it, but then you'd lose that coziness of it.
Yeah, and we've kind of been around the house with all this, like maybe reducing one of the seating rooms to like a a different area, like a deli or something where you can come in and get some groceries and stuff like that. So we've looked at lots of different things. At the minute, I think we're just happy with what we're doing. I just want to get the volumes killing us at the minute. We're so busy. I think, we mentioned about bridges earlier. That obviously a massive shame, but that has then affected us because I think we've picked up a bit more traffic from that.
Yeah.
And we can't cope. We're already bursting. So it's really difficult to keep a good standard.
Yeah.
Next year we'll bring on some changes. We've already got some things in the pipeline that we're thinking of doing as a team to sort of help with that, because that really bothers me. When we don't do table bookings or anything, we've always kept it to that, but there are weekends where the queue just gets ridiculous.
Yeah.
The wait time on food goes through the roof. We've got a really small kitchen. Not a lot of people understand the fact that it's not a commercial kitchen either. We've had to work with a really old building, so we've only got electric, got no gas, we've got no extraction.
Right.
Very, very small. And when we've got such a large seating area,
that is the thing, yeah. And you can't see. You've got loads of seating outside and upstairs, and it's hard to see.
Yeah, you can turn up, you can get a table, but then you've got to wait an hour for the food. And it's understanding the fact that we do offer a lot of seating, but it's just being patient with the kitchen. It's very, very small. So we're trying to, again, this is just part of the business growth to where do we take it next? Do we reduce the menu and reduce the table size to be able to deliver a good quality standard consistently, or do we have to keep growing? I think the plan will be to keep growing.
Yeah. I was kind of, I was thinking what's next, but I feel like there's a lot that's coming next and coming down the line. Like it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, definitely. I
think
think
more festivals, more food trucks, more bigger kitchen.
It's all coming, I think. Yeah, so I don't know that we won't be able to do a lot more with the building, but I think there's plans in the long run to we need to sort out the food side of it and the kitchen. So I think we're going to get maybe an outside catering facility. So during the summer months, we can offer some more food, burgers, chips, all the good stuff, and we can do that from an outside unit, and that will take the heat off the kitchen. And then we're still trying to grow the events as well. So, we've got the bar, we've got our dessert hut that we opened this summer, which is doing really well. If we can get a food trailer in there as well, then we're growing that event part that we can do more events and keep it all in house. I think that'd be really good.
It's a lot, but you can kind of see your excitement for what you're doing, and it's nice that it's all building up in a small. I know Bromham's not tiny, but it's still a small village, isn't it? It's
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, bringing that, and actually, it's quite deceiving because when you drive past the mill, there's two things. One, it doesn't look that big, the space-wise, because it kind of goes. There's got the stones and some seating that goes around the back, right? Yeah. And two, it's always busy. Yeah. It's always. I don't think I've ever driven past, obviously in open hours, and there's not loads of people sat outside the front. Yeah. Do you reckon there's going to be a site 2 in the future?
Do you know what? I have this battle with myself all the time. I'd love it. I really want another business. I've really enjoyed taking on the mill and growing it to where it's at now, and it's still going to continue to grow. But yeah, I have times. Sometimes when I get some time off and I clear my head and I think, right, I need another business.
Let's go again. Yeah.
And then I get back into the day-to-day grind, and I'm like, I don't have any time. The ambition is there. I would love to do it. I think that will happen when I make a decision with the day job. Yeah. And that will push me to then get another business. Another coffee shop, I don't know. I think the mill's so unique.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. It's hard to replicate, isn't it?
Yeah, like we've got some branding ideas that we could branch off of what we've done with the mill, which I think would work. But I don't know. I don't know if the appetite's there to do another coffee shop. Where would it be? It would definitely be down to location. Yeah. I've been approached by people out of the area with similar venues to the mill and sort of said, would I be interested in taking that on? At this moment, I couldn't say. I think initially for next year, I'd like to grow our offer into what we're doing. The mill's the hub, and then branching off from that. So maybe, delivery service, takeaway service, offering our cakes, expanding on the cakes and doing deliveries for those, or corporate events where we can cater for those. I think that would be a good thing to look into next. Yeah.
Because it is difficult, because like you said, you fell in love with the mill, right? That's where it all came from. You went to go see it and you fell in love with it, and that's where it all came from. And it'd have to be a you have to go somewhere and fall in love again for it to be even close to be able to do it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And you got to remember, I'm not, hats off to the team for this. I'm not a cook. I'm not a baker. And, my career isn't in hospitality. So I've had to learn all of that just because I've got the drive and the passion for the mill. And that's what keeps me going. I think if I was to go and do that somewhere else and I didn't have that, that's a failure. You've got to be brought into your business and the model.
For sure.
But you have to wait and see.
It's exciting though. It's exciting. Like my mum lives in Bromham, and it's nice like to have that place where when I go to my mum's, it's we 9 times out of 10 it's like, right, we'll meet at the mill, we'll walk to the mill, because you just know what you're gonna get. It's always got a bit of an atmosphere. You're always going to get nice cakes and stuff. I don't go as much as I'd like to the Fridays because I end up just eating and drinking too much. That's the problem. That's the only downside to it. I'd like to go to those more. But yeah, it's exciting to have somewhere that's just growing and doing more in the village, because it's walking distance, which is so big. So it must be such a key part of the business being successful. Yeah, you've got the car park and stuff, but a lot of people just cut through Bromham Park down the middle, don't they? And you can get to it so easy. Yeah,
well, I live in Bromham, I'm the top end, so for me it's just nice. Even on a day off, it's terrible. I'll be walking the dog and I'll be like, oh God, just pop down there, and then you get caught up in everything. But I think for me, like, the community has just been amazing. From the moment we opened the doors, we all said how nice the community feel was, the customers, getting to know more people in the village. It really is like the hub of Bromham now. What's been exciting over the years to see is obviously not only have we got the community supporting it, which is great, and I'll be forever thankful for that, but we're getting more and more people coming from miles away now through social media to come and visit the mill. Yeah. But one thing I'm always really strict on is with the team is knowing the locals, knowing our repeat customers, and we always prioritise that. Yeah. Some weekends we've had influx of people, we've never seen them before. They're there, they're just visiting, they just come to see the mill, and that's great. But we need to, our regular customers are the important ones. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's good to get a spread, but like you say, you've got to make sure that the people that are there, they're your bread and butter. They're the ones who keep you going on in the miserable like Fridays when it's dark and wet. They're the people that are going to still come down for food and drink. So it is difficult when you're busy to do all that. But it's great to see it happening, and I think the Millfest it sounds like it's going to be good fun. I'm glad it's not me organising it. I know. I want to have fun, and that is the big thing for us. We're doing it. We know what it was like last year, and we both, me and Matt, were there, and just like, this was amazing. Like, real proud moment that we pulled it off, and we got a lot of contacts from last year that we'll use again this year. And I think if we manage to pull it off, and the weather's kind to us, and it's a good atmosphere, it'll be awesome. Like, I'll be really proud if that event goes well. Yeah, absolutely. Can you enjoy it at the time, or do you enjoy it when it's done? Probably the last half an hour. Last year was the last half an hour. Yeah, I think for me, again, battling with that OCD, is just, I want it to be perfect. So I'll be running around like a headless chicken all day, just making sure that everyone's all right, and all the customers are enjoying it and feeling that they've got value for money. And as soon as I can see everyone's having a great time and the atmosphere sort of rises, and people have had a few drinks and they're enjoying themselves, and that's when I'll take a step back and sort of be like, yes, this is wicked. Yeah. And I'll let my hair down a little bit. Not too much though, I can imagine. Yeah. So, that'll be cool. Exciting. So exciting stuff going on. I'm looking forward to kind of the progression of kind of what the next couple of years has in store. And I think overall, like for me, I'm one of the ones that look at the place and just think it's just going from strength to strength, always busy. But there's a lot that goes in behind it that you just don't see. So I think it's been really good to understand how things happen, the struggles, and just how much you've had to adapt to not knowing what you're doing, to be perfectly honest. And I think there's real, like, I don't like to say, like, it sounds cheesy when you say it's like an inspirational story, but like to go from not knowing anything about coffee to having the mill that's doing festivals and food trucks and busy all the time, it just shows when you've got a passion and a drive for something, you'll make it work. You can make it happen. Definitely.
And I think that's a really good takeaway from this is just if it's there, if the passion's there and you believe in it and you want to make it work, it can work.
Yeah. And you've got to have that. I think for me, if I was to do it again, is the conversation I'd have with myself is, have I got definitely the passion, the drive, but also that consistency? Because you've got to keep up with it, you know, through thick and thin, mental health, whatever that life throws at you, that business is your priority and you've got to keep pushing it.
Yeah.
I think that's where probably a lot of people will fail, because they'll switch off and it's not the priority. So yeah, if anyone come to me for any advice, that would be what I'd say. Not everyone's like us in that sense, and I get that, and everyone will have a different angle. Some people might say you should have left your job and you should have given the mill everything. And that's absolutely fine. That's my personal circumstances and how I chose to do it. But I think it does show either way you can make it work if you really want to. Just got to believe in what you're doing.
I think that's the core of it. I think that when you believe in what you do, there's some people that want to start a business for the sake of starting a business because they want to start a business. But I think if you don't, like I say, believe in what you want to do, know that it's going to be there every day. The stress is going to be there every day. And it's going to take a minimum, I would say, of sort of 4 or 5 years. I put a little video up on Instagram today that I saw of like a plane taking off and it goes through the clouds of like year 1, you just take off. Year 2, 3 and 4, you're just going through the clouds. And year 5, you might kind of come out the top end of it.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the reality of it every morning, every night. So you've got to know that that's what you want to do.
Yeah, definitely. And don't. I'm not saying bad things about social media, but don't believe everything you see on social media as well. I think that's why I spend a lot of time off of it, because it can sidetrack you into thinking. I mean, I could go on there now and be like, oh, my life's crap. You know, look at them. They're having an amazing time. You're like, I'm spending all my time working and they're, you know, off in Dubai on their
There's
laptop.
always someone doing something
money.
better than you and
Don't
more
get
successful than you. And and that was my big problem. It was always, I was pretty happy with where I was with work was growing and we were doing more. And then you see someone that's 21 that's just bought himself a Lamborghini because he started a marketing agency when he was 16 and he's got 8 Rolexes and he gets up at 4 and runs a marathon before he does anything. Do you know what I mean? It's just, that's not real.
No, it's not.
But you beat yourself up that you're not doing that. So I think that social media is great and I think it's good to show what you can do and what your business does. But yeah, you don't believe everything you see. And that's probably across your social media as well. Like I say, you guys, you'd only post about events that are coming up and what you're doing, but that doesn't mean that there's not days where you're probably sat there, head in your hands thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah. Today is a prime example. You know, just before I turned up here, you know, it's not in a good, I'll be honest, it's not in a good place today. Like, it's a really bad day. We've got lots of different issues down there, but to the customer sat outside having a coffee, they don't have a clue what's going on behind the scenes. And that's something that we'll deal with. And as a team, that's what makes us stronger. And I'm sure we'll get through it. And we're in the peak of summer, we're in school holidays, you know, the team are tired and it's been relentless. It's been the busiest year we've ever had. So I've got to expect that as the owner, there's going to be some rough rides in there. So, but yeah, like I said, you just got to keep going, keep pushing through. And
it's difficult when you've got, and it's in any business, but you were saying about staff that it's kind of might be their job over some holidays or at uni, but it's the same in any staff, whether it's their full-time job or not. Not everyone can believe in it the way that you believe in it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to always, like, you've got to keep going and you've got to give, but it's hard for you've got to, like, going back to your sort of how you manage people, is trying to put that passion to people as well, to believe in what you believe in.
Yeah, definitely. So when I first started, I think I got way too caught up in that, what people thought. You know, a member of staff would say, I'm going to leave. And I'm like, no, don't leave, stay. You know, I'll do anything to keep you staying. I'll change their hours, I'll change their pay or whatever. Stupid decision. You know, they'd made a decision to leave, just let them go. And now I have this saying that I say to the guys about just being on the same bus. We're all on the same bus, and that's my journey. That's where I want to go. And you either want to come with me or you don't.
Yeah,
you know,
I like that.
And if you don't, that's fine. You know, jump off. You go on your own journey. But ultimately, we've all got to be on the same path and the same journey to make it work. And I'm not protective of that anymore. You know, I'll look after my staff. I think I look after my staff, and I'll do anything if I think I've got someone good and their passion is still in the mill. Then I'll happily spend the time to invest in keeping them there and doing that. But if they're not, fine.
Yeah, I really like that. You kind of, you've all got to be going in the right direction. And if you're not, then even if you've got 1 in 20 put in the wrong direction, that brings that other 19 off track.
100%. Same with reviews as well, isn't it? Like, oh God, reviews, when they first come in, when you start up, I used to get so annoyed. I'd sit there and I'd send back the most violent replies. Like, how dare you insult the business? But now I'm just like, yeah, whatever, it's fine. You know, one bad review out of 100 good ones. And I'm just
can't please everybody.
Yeah, bad feedback. I'll take it on board. Yeah, we messed up. But again, you don't know what was happening behind the scenes that day. And apologies, and we'll grow from it and look and get better. So. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was going to ask you on bits of advice, but you've already kind of quite well articulated kind of a lot of good bits of advice. Is there anything that is there any moments where you thought you wish you didn't do, like big moments where you've like real lessons where you just thought, I messed up there, or I wish I didn't do that, apart from decide to do another festival that now you're regretting?
Yeah, ask me after that's happened in September. I don't know, really. That's a tough one. There definitely would have been throughout the time of doing it. I can't really think of any good examples now, but I think there's lessons along the way, isn't there? I've made some decisions where I'm trying to think of some now where I've done stuff. You know, Christmas events. I think we made a decision to do Christmas events every weekend in December. Just absolutely flopped. And I think it's just being strong enough to go, that didn't work. We're not going to do it again. And we'll move on to another idea, rather than chasing it and doing it again the next year and continue to lose money. You've got, I think, as a business owner, you've got to be quick with your thinking and what you want to do. That's the hardest thing, is making the ultimate decision to be like, right, we're not doing it, or we are doing it. But if you do fail, own it. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, fucked up. Yeah, didn't.
And if you miss all the chances you don't take, right? So if you got to try something. Doesn't work. You tried, doesn't work. You know next time not to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the most important thing. So, yeah, that's all I'd say on that. Really, I'm sure there is. I'll probably think of some good examples afterwards.
That's fine. I'll put you on the spot anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for coming in, and thank you for being very honest about. I think it's been a well-rounded conversation, really, about positives and negatives, and your take on it is very different. There's not a lot of people that run a business and work full time. Yeah. And I think it's quite refreshing that you're just so happy to work. I think there's a lot of people like that, but just won't articulate it in a way that they just love work.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And that doesn't mean there's not always a correlation between I love work and I love money, or I love work. And there probably is a connection for a lot of time, but that isn't always the case. And I think there's a stigma around, they're just career driven, means they just want money. Yeah. But that's not necessarily the case. You just I know that I like work. I like keeping my brain occupied. I like challenging myself and learning more. That doesn't mean that all I want to do is earn money. That's a byproduct of all the hard work that I do that I enjoy doing. Yeah. But I think I like how you've how you articulate it and how you spent time to understand that about yourself. It's a really good way to put that for your business and then through the people as well. So yeah, I really appreciate kind of your honesty on that. And it's nice to see that journey of not knowing what I'm doing at all to kind of probably still don't know what you're doing for some things, but overall, like you've made a big success out of the meal from just walking past it, seeing it, to not knowing coffee to where it is now is very impressive, and it's an incredible journey.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate that, and yeah, I just think it's just go with it. Like, that's what I'm learning. Just go with it, see what tomorrow brings, and make a decision with whatever that future is. So. Yeah, I can sit here now and say doing both jobs, but 6 months later,
you could
it could be an absolute mental breakdown and be like,
well, that could be
got nothing.
But mid September, you could be a write off.
A right mess, yeah. But at the minute it's working well, and you know, as always, I've had a lot of help and advice from people. You know, I've not got here on my own, and I thank everyone that's helped me on that journey. And I think, for me, it's just, you know, if there is someone thinking about setting up a business and they want an honest opinion and they want to know the struggles as well as the positives, I'm more than happy to have a chat with anyone, really. So I think Bedford as a whole has got a great community with local businesses, and, you know, I'd like to think that anyone would pick the phone up and be like, I need some help, or what would you advise? I'm always happy. So I've done it. I had to, you know, because I didn't know what I was doing, and I've pulled on a lot of people in my time, and I'm forever grateful for that. So, yeah. If there is anyone thinking about it, I'm more than happy to
Do
give
it.
them some advice.
Do
Yeah,
it. It's
definitely do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's great satisfaction.
Do it
when,
and
when it goes right.
we're all winging it, so don't be afraid to
That's
wing
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing wrong with winging it.
No, for sure. Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time. Looking forward to seeing a lot on socials about what's coming up in Millfest, and thanks very much, and see how long you can hold down two jobs and survive.
That's it. Absolutely. No, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks. We'll wrap up there.